An absolute shocker. The Tennessee Titans lose their starting right guard, Saahdiq Charles, as he retires. But the Titans can withstand this loss. I'll break it all down on an emergency edition of Locked On Titans.
You are Locked On Titans, your daily Tennessee Titans podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to an emergency edition of the Locked On Titans podcast. I am your host, Tyler Rowland, and Titans fans, we got major news. Starting right guard Saahdiq Charles has retired. This is an absolute shocker, but I think the Titans are set to withstand this loss. We're going to dive into it. Before we do, thank you for making the Locked On Titans podcast your first listen each and every day. Remember, Monday through Friday, Tennessee Titans content all year round, always for free. Make sure that you get subscribed, stay subscribed. It's your team every day here on the Locked On Titans podcast. Shout out to my everydayers out there tuning in Monday through Friday and bonus episodes as well. I've had a ton of those going here in the last few days. This is the number one Tennessee Titans podcast in the world for 5 years running for a reason. Make sure that you get subscribed, stay subscribed. But, whoa, completely unexpected. In the middle of your Tuesday afternoon, boom, a bomb drops. Saahdiq Charles is going to retire. Okay, number one, this is completely unexpected for multiple reasons. Number one, Saahdiq Charles was set to be the right guard. He was going to be the starting right guard for this team, and he has been the starting right guard all season long, or all season long, throughout the summer, throughout all the OTAs and minicamp. It has been Saahdiq Charles as the starter since he was signed in free agency this offseason. Okay? Number two, Saahdiq Charles is only 25 years old. He just turned 25. He's basically been 24 this entire time. So 25 years old, set to be a starter with a new team, and he retires before they ever even play a preseason game. It is an absolute stunner, an absolute shocker. There's no other way to categorize it, okay? No other way to categorize it. But, I do think that the Tennessee Titans are in a good place to absorb this loss, and it really not matter, okay? I don't think that this is a huge loss for the Tennessee Titans. But before I explain why I don't think it's a huge loss for the Titans, I just want to say this for 1 second. Saahdiq Charles missed the last few practices over the weekend with personal reasons. They were excused absences. The team knew that he wasn't going to be there. They were excused. It was personal reasons. So I say that to say this. Whatever is going on with Saahdiq Charles off the field that is causing him to retire, I certainly hope that he's okay. I hope that he's doing all right. Whatever's you don't want to say that the absences from practice from Saahdiq Charles are 100% connected to his retirement. They could be for different reasons, but any kind of logical person is going to connect the dots on that. So I just hope that Saahdiq Charles is doing okay. He's a young man, 25 years old. For him to retire when he's set to be a starter, there must be something going on that is difficult to deal with. And, we've all dealt with difficult stuff in our personal lives. I've gone through some difficult things recently in my personal life. So I just hope that whatever is going on with Saahdiq Charles, he's okay. That's my number one. But let me explain why I'm not really that worried about this. First and foremost, 2 words, Dillon Radunz. I have been contending all off season long that Dillon Radunz should be the starter at right guard anyways. Just whether Saahdiq Charles is there or not, Dillon Radunz should be the starter. I believe in Dillon Radunz. And now that he gets a real opportunity to be just a guard, I was excited for Dillon Radunz this year. So the fact that Saahdiq Charles had automatically jumped him, I didn't like that anyways. I think that Dillon Radunz is the better football player. So you get Dillon Radunz to, boom, immediately go into the starting lineup. And I'm excited to see Dillon Radunz get an opportunity to be a day one full-time starter. I want to see that. But it goes past just Dillon Radunz. I mean, Dillon Radunz has shown excellent strength. He's gotten so much stronger in the last few years. He's still a mobile guy who has good athleticism. He can get out and move in the zone schemes, but he's got the size and the power to work in the power and the gap schemes as well. So I think Dillon Radunz is just as good, if not better, than Saahdiq Charles anyway. So I'm really not that worried about Saahdiq Charles retiring here. I'm really not all that concerned. Also, let me say this. Daniel Brunskill. Daniel Brunskill was a starting guard. The Titans brought him over. He was immediately a starting guard for the Titans. Daniel Brunskill can start if needed. So I think that the Titans had 3 starting right guards on the team. You had Saahdiq Charles. You have Dillon Radunz. You have Daniel Brunskill. So of any of the positions where I think the Titans could feasibly lose somebody and still be fine, it was guard. It was right guard. Like, that is the one spot on the team where you could have vanished Saahdiq Charles from the universe. I think the Titans would be fine. So now that he's retiring, of course you hope that everything's going well with Saahdiq Charles, but I'm just not that worried about this situation. Let Dillon Radunz cook. Lord Radunz is ready to go. So, not even that. Again, you got Daniel Brunskill behind him. Also, let me say this. Andrew Rupcich, Cole Spencer, Corey Levin is now in there. I think the Titans are in a fine position to absorb this loss. Saahdiq Charles was on the open market for a reason. He isn't some certified, guaranteed, bona fide starter in the NFL. He is a low-level starter who could have gotten better and maybe improved here with the Titans. But coming off his 4 years in Washington, Saahdiq Charles is just maybe. It's not like the Titans lost a certified starting guard here. So I want to talk about the depth a little bit more and why I don't even think the Titans need to go out and sign somebody. I don't even think that's necessarily necessary. Okay, and I'll explain why. Before I do, though, do want to let you guys know that today's bonus episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. I love sports. I love them so much, I never want them to stop. But as the playoffs wind down, we get fewer games, and the sports stop sporting like we want them to. But FanDuel lets me keep the sports going whenever I want. All I have to do is open up the app and dream up bets anytime I'm in the mood. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone, every day, all summer long. And me personally, I'm looking at the Titans plus 4.5 against the Chicago Bears in week 1. Kind of hard not to get excited about that sort of spread. So make sure that you head over to FanDuel.com and start making the most out of your summer. It's FanDuel, official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. Also want to let you guys know that today's episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. When your schedule is packed with kids' activities, big work projects, and more, it is easy to let your priorities slip, but your self-care non-negotiables need to be just that, non-negotiable. When you feel like you have no time for yourself, that's when your non-negotiables, like therapy, are more important than ever. I've worked with BetterHelp before. It was a great process, really easy, and that's what you want, and that's what you need. If you're thinking about starting therapy, you got to give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online. It's designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Never skip therapy day with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/lockedon to get 10% off your first month today. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/lockedon. Titans fans, let's continue today's emergency reaction episode to Saahdiq Charles retiring. What an absolute shocker. Again, he's been the starting right guard all off season long. He's only 25 years old, just recently turned 25. For him to retire, I certainly hope that everything is going okay with Saahdiq Charles. But the reality is the Titans were set to withstand this loss. Dillon Radunz, I think, is just as good of a player, if not better, than Saahdiq Charles anyway. They still have Daniel Brunskill on the roster, who started all year at right guard last year and has been backup center so far this year. Also, the moves are starting to make sense. Corey Levin brought in last week. Why? Well, so that Corey Levin can be the backup center, and now Daniel Brunskill can slide back to be the backup right guard. Not only that, but Andrew Rupcich. Andrew Rupcich had some good moments last year. He's had some good moments during camp and during the offseason this year. I think that Andrew Rupcich, as a developmental player, is good enough. I mean, he made some starts for the Titans last year at right guard. So I think that Andrew Rupcich is a solid depth player. And, like, I guess, and I don't mean to, my goal here is not to sully Saahdiq Charles and his situation and what's going on. That's not my intention at all. But at the same time, I'm just not that bothered by this. I'm not that worried by this. I think that, again, Dillon Radunz can do a fine job. They have Daniel Brunskill. They have Andrew Rupcich. I think the Titans have the depth to withstand this dilemma. You know what I mean? Going to throw the offensive depth chart up here. You have Skoronski and Rupcich as 1 and 2 at left guard. You have Saahdiq Charles at right guard, Dillon Radunz at number 2 at right guard, Latavius Simmons behind him, and then Daniel Brunskill and Corey Levin at center. So, again, I don't think the Titans need to go out and sign somebody. I don't think the Titans need to make any kind of trade. I don't really think any move is necessary. Of all of the roster spots, the Titans had maybe the most depth at guard. And you never know, maybe even a tackle like a Jalen Duncan or like a, who else? John Ojukwu. Maybe one of these guys could slide inside and help the Titans as well. I just think that the Titans had more offensive line depth this year than they've had in a lot of recent years, and this move isn't as damning as maybe it would appear to be. The Titans starting right guard retired. Oh, no, I really don't think that it's that bad. I don't think it's that big of a deal. He was set to start. I do think that he would have been the starter had he not retired, but I think that Dillon Radunz is just fine, and I think that they have the depth behind Dillon Radunz even to be perfectly fine here. I don't think that the Titans need to make any moves. I don't think this is some massive loss that, is going to affect how many wins and losses they have. I just don't see it that way, and that's kind of how I felt throughout the offseason with the guard position. Quite honestly, it was a competition for a reason because nobody is far and away better than the other guys. So, again, shocking news, no doubt. An absolute stunner. Saahdiq Charles, 25 years old, as the starting right guard, retires. But hope he's doing okay. Hope everything is all right for him. But with Dillon Radunz and Daniel Brunskill and Andrew Rupcich still on the roster, I just don't think that this is some huge loss for the Titans, and it's not something that I'm going to panic about. I do have a depth chart review episode set to come out later tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern time. Although that was recorded before the Saahdiq Charles move, I am still going to put that out. The conversation doesn't really have a ton to do with that, so still going to put that out, but wanted to have an emergency reaction here for you guys as well because, quite honestly, who pumps out content as much as I do on the Tennessee Titans? Not a soul on the planet, period. But with that being said, that is going to do it for this bonus episode. Everybody relax. I don't think this is a huge loss. With that being said, though, that's going to do it for me today, folks. As always, I am your host, Tyler Rowland, and this was Locked On Titans.